This is the second part of my interview with Steve, the jet lag guy. This time, we're back to our usual interview program. You'll learn more about Steve's journey, his interdisciplinary knowledge, and how he uses his expertise to develop his non-invasive jet lag ecosystem. He provided insight into innovative solutions for managing jet lag, how they work, and the potential impact on high-performance activities like the Olympics or business executive decisions. Steve's work has a unique value proposition in both practicality and safety. There's still a lot of science chat involved, so if your device or listening platform provides captions, I encourage you to switch it on and drop down some of the keywords that you might be interested in further research. Well, now, so you started the jet lag guy as a small business.
Yes.
Which year did you start the business?
I graduated at the end of 2019 and I was all set to start at the beginning of 2020 as a jet lag consultant. And that didn't happen.
I wonder what happened.
Something got in the way.
Yeah, like everyone staying home, that kind of period.
Yeah. But I had started it while I was still finishing. And the name came from, when you're a PhD student, you often have little discussion groups and people go around the room, what's your name and what's your area of research? And you're like, oh, yeah, you're the jet lag guy. Because I had spoken about it. We did a contest called 3-Minute Thesis, and I kept coming second. And one time, and now this is 2016, so it's a simpler time, and I had the Iron Throne. Right, from the Game of Thrones.
Yep.
And I got the font, I got the correct font, and I put up there Game of Zones. And I talked about time zones and my trip to Buenos Aires. And, I had a row of clocks. So, and you have to speak about your thesis for 3 minutes. There's a timer on the stage, and if you go, you're off, you're disqualified. You have to speak about your thesis for 3 minutes.
Just like a business pitch.
It's exactly like a business pitch.
Nice. That's the PhD.
That's a PhD contest. Yeah. So putting in the components and assembling and what have you, that's been fun.
Oh my gosh, it's But I mean, now that you're launching, can you describe that? What do you what kind of service and that you are providing as the jet lag guy?
Services. It's a plural. I've got an ecosystem, and that's because there was just everything missing. So I've written a book. I've got a final draft. I've got to work out how to get that published. So that's the first thing. I've got the app that's in the final stages of development. And what makes this app unique compared with the other apps, it factors in whether you're a morning person or an evening person. You do a questionnaire. So I've got my app here, and I am a nightingale. I don't know if you can see that. Probably not.
We're gonna send me a screenshot. I'll put it on the screen. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm a nightingale, which I'm not quite at the extreme end of owl, but I'm owl-ish, if you like. I'm owl-ish. So you can use the app and work out that. So I had a meeting about that this morning to sort of finalize things for the app. The book I've written for the layperson. So you have, because most business travelers don't have a scientific background. And I'm not going to explain. When, if I come across a scientific term and I need to explain it, I put it in the glossary.
Yep.
I had a friend suggest, I thought, great idea. So, I've got an explanation of,
and it's important
circadian rhythm.
It's important to do that. With small business clients that I have, I would have bracket human language. And instead of using the jargon job that I work with academics, I became the person that they come through to test if the language is public friendly.
Yeah.
And it's true. The thing is, you want people to understand what you do.
Absolutely. And I think that was one of the things the 3-Minute Thesis was really good for that way. So I've got that. I've got workshops that are ready to go. So I'm working on the slides because I've got I had a graphic guy and he put some sounds in. I don't want, so you can't delete the sounds. And I've got one-on-one consulting, and I'm selling product.
Ooh, what kind of product? What are you? Well, I mean, in that case, I would love to see the product after this little break.
We'll have
But of course, that we are going to
demo?
go. Yes, because we are going to go on a quick break in a moment, and we'll come back, and Steve would provide us a little bit of a very interesting product demo, and we'll be back shortly. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm talking to Dr. Steve Jasper, the jet lag guy. He offers service, workshops, an app, and a very special goggle to help business people to improve their performance by optimizing sleep. Just before the break that we talk about a product. Can you tell me about more?
Now, this is a product that was invented here in Australia, in Adelaide, and it is manufactured in Adelaide. So these are jet lag goggles. Now, these are shining, and I don't know if you can see it. It's matching the wall behind me, so well done. But they're shining little green lights.
I might switch off our camera lights.
Okay, so these look like I'm at a rave in the 90s.
Yes.
But they shine bluish green lights. They're a particular wavelength, and it's to maximize. Now, those receptors in the eye that I talk about,
yes,
that's the frequency that they're most sensitive to, that sort of blue-green range. Red wouldn't work. Red doesn't work. So you put these on, and they shine.
Oh my God. Wow.
Eyes are very green.
Yep.
And they wake you up. Now, let's say, for example, I can think of a couple of situations where you use them. Say you're flying to London and it's pitch black here in Melbourne.
Yes.
But it's daylight in London and you want to be awake, and you want to be awake. Align yourself to London time. These will help you do that. These will help you stay awake.
And still have that, if
Absolutely.
you make the
Put them
sunlight.
on. Put them on.
Okay. Wait, can I have my glasses on? Why not? Because I can't see it.
Well, let's see how you go.
No.
See how you go.
Sorry, I have a big face. Oh.
And it's kind of like drinking coffee. It wakes you up.
Oh, sorry, my dishwasher keep making noise. It feels very unusual.
Yeah.
But I don't know why, but my eyes are opening a little bit bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's saying, hey, it's daylight.
Yeah. Well, especially that we have the blinds down because we don't want backlight.
Yeah, and it is autumn. It's so yeah. Now,
okay, it feels very different. It feels very.
When you take them off, everything turns pink.
Yes,
because you've been looking at green light, so it goes to the opposite color. But do you feel awake?
Yes.
Yeah,
I think
it's like having a shot of caffeine.
I think you need to keep talking for a moment. It feels like there's a switch flicked in my head. Yeah. I don't know what it is.
That switch is called the suprachiasmatic nucleus.
That's super what?
It's a little part of the brain, and there's a hormone it produces called melatonin. And melatonin is produced in the dark.
Yep.
It's got darkness. You know, melanin, which is the pigment.
Yep.
And if the cells that produce that pigment get cancer, it's melanoma. Well, this is melatonin. It's the hormone that's produced in the dark. What that switches, it flicks it off. It switches off melatonin. Melatonin makes you sleepy.
There's alternative that you're not invasive or you're not ingesting something.
This is safer than medication.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't come with the side effects of medication. You know?
Exactly.
And I say that as an ex-pharmacist who spent 30 years in the pharmaceutical industry, and that causes me physical pain to say that. But, you know, this is actually a better option. Because, you know, I've seen research where they gave fighter pilots dexamphetamine. I'm thinking,
what is that?
Dexamphetamine. Speed.
Oh!
Yes.
And we got the 2024 coming
up. We have.
How can we
have predictions?
Do you mind sharing those predictions, please?
This is an exclusive, world first. Not
exclusive.
Yay! Okay.
Well, by the time it's released, it's probably published. But oh well.
Well, let's talk about the winners and the losers.
Okay.
So we got some winners.
Yep.
The big winner is going to be France. Okay. Not only do they not have jet lag, they are the host nation. We know that there's a host nation benefit. Mm-hmm. We know that. So somewhere in the realm, and I'm only going to go gold medals. One thing I found is that silver medals for people that travel more actually can go up because people who would normally get a gold medal miss out by that much.
That much.
Team sports particularly vulnerable because if you have one member in the team who's affected more than the others, the opposing team will know that and target them. So team sports are particularly vulnerable to jet lag.
Well, even if it is not sports, you're only as good as the worst person in your team.
That's right.
All right, well, give me more ideas.
So another winner is the UK. So Team GB is going to go very well. They're literally across the water. Now, in terms of time zones, they're an hour behind. They shouldn't be. France and Britain should be on the same time zone. You know, Paris, in terms of the sun, Paris is about 2 minutes earlier than London. And now we measure all time off London, the meridian, the prime meridian in Greenwich. Paris had its own meridian. And, you know, before this was set up, there was rivalry between the London meridian and the Paris meridian, which were only 2 minutes apart. And if you see named out Le Méridien, no, the meridian, that's what they're talking about. There's an actual meridian in Paris. Now, they struggled last Olympics with Tokyo.
But not only they were off the chart with the time zone, they're also off a year.
Well, but everyone was off a year. So
yeah, that's true.
So now a smaller winner is the United States. They really struggled at Tokyo. They didn't crack, I don't think they cracked 40 gold medals.
Wow.
Because the time zones are just so bad for the Americans. It's a lot better. It's not ideal, but it's a lot better. I think if you fly from the East Coast to France, it's about 6 hours time zones. More. So I think they'll hit somewhere in the realm of 45 to 50. They'll sort of be back to their old selves. You know, if you know, they have the Olympics in the continental US, they do amazingly well.
Which is the next one?
Where is the next one?
So the next Olympics will be at Los Angeles,
which
they would do very well.
Particularly West Coast athletes more than East Coast athletes, because it's 3 hours difference between the West Coast and the East Coast. And they've found, even with domestic US sports like basketball and gridiron and what have you, that athletes from one side of the country will struggle more when they're playing on the other side of the coast.
Wow.
Yeah. West Coast athletes struggling to play on the East Coast because they're out of whack by 3 hours.
Well, how about
it's not a day the other way though. It's just, you know,
it's just a breezy little.
It's a breezy little jaunt.
Oh gosh.
You know, you leave, you know, in the afternoon. You get, you know, leave East Coast early afternoon. You get to Los Angeles in the early evening.
Oh, that's kind of nice. Then you could go to dinner or something like that. Yeah,
quite civilized.
Well, I mean, in that case, okay, so we talk about the gold medal stories for the US.
Now the losers.
Oh,
us. Okay, Tokyo was wonderful for us because it's only an hour behind our East Coast. It's fantastic. Paris, not so much. So I'm thinking in the realm of 7 to 10 gold medals, and I'm settling on about 8.
Oh boy.
So, and the other loser, of course, is Japan.
Yep.
They not only had the time zone advantage, but the host nation advantage last time round. They're missing out this time round. You know, it's quite a few. I think Japan is +9 and so it's an 8-hour time zone difference to France, which is enough to impact.
And so I'm thinking they're flying west.
They're flying west, but I have read somewhere that many athletes are morning people.
Well, they need to go training in the morning.
They need to go training at 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
And so Japan, I'm thinking 7 to 8 medals.
Wow.
So
that's got to be a big change. That's got to be, say the East Coast of America, and then there's also South America. Of course, that is that's not a lot of time zone difference, but they have a lot of weather and climate difference. So, for example,
season lag.
Season lag. So, for example, for Japan to France, that's 8 hours. But from Australia to France, not only there's quite a lot of hours, but then there's also from winter to summer. And would us be a bigger loser than Japan, or the other way around?
I think we would be a bigger loser to start with. I remember one time, and reading about it many years afterward, the Olympics back in 1968 we were in Mexico City. Mexico City is very elevated,
Yeah.
high up in the mountains. And a lot of the runners from other countries struggled because of the oxygen pressure.
Yes.
And I know someone who dealt with products, I think it was instant coffee that was packed in Mexico City, and the lid would be concave because the pressure in Mexico City is that much lower.
Wow.
So I think air pressure, that was a big one, that runners particularly struggled getting enough oxygen into the lungs because the air pressure is much lower in Mexico City.
That must have been a good year for Mexico.
It would have been a wonderful year for Mexico.
Now, you mentioned that a little bit earlier in this interview. There's an app coming. Can you?
There is.
Yeah,
so
can you?
the app that
is it
we're
available to
developing,
the public?
it will be very soon.
Yeah. And how does it work?
So it's
I'll
got,
put some screenshot on the screen as we
Okay.
speak. Okay.
it's got two components. The first is the usual maths component. Every jet lag app will do that. I'm in this time zone, I'm flying to that time zone, I'm doing it in 5 days' time. How do I adjust my sleep? Arithmetic. What time I want to wake up, what time I go to bed. It's arithmetic. Any app can do that. We've got that. That's easy. The other part is there's a quiz which was developed decades ago on how much of a morning person or an evening person you are, and that's you've got your own tips. So, for example, I'm a nightingale. We've allocated them all birds, and I'm not an extreme night owl, but I'm on the way there. So it tells me that flying west is better for me than flying east, and then how to modify. And there's also tips in there you can click on and find out about using sunlight for your jet lag. All these sorts of issues. So
we all travel and we all work at different time, especially now that even for many people, like there are people listening to the podcast, there will be small business owner that they will have a crazy time management system. So that would complement how individuals manage themselves. So not only small business, general public can
absolutely
enjoy it. Yeah.
It's open. Whether it's general public, I've specifically targeted it at business owners. And the reason is, if you're a leisure traveler and you get a bit of jet lag, you can lounge by the pool with a pina colada. If you're a business traveler, you can't do that. And you have to have lots of clarity around your decisions. There are major consequences. I read one study that in the UK, a few years ago, it was estimated to cost £241 million. Jet lag cost productivity.
Wow.
Now I'm thinking in Australia, the per capita rate is going to be higher because we fly a lot more and we fly a lot further.
Before we go on a break, I do have a little question because you mentioned during your research a little thing called Viagra. What does it have to do with sleeping pattern and jet lag? And I mean, how does one? Well, let's just say that it would be very distracting for you to try to go to sleep when you.
Well, not really. Okay. Little clarity here. When I was working in the pharmaceutical industry back in the late 90s, 1997 to be precise, I was in a very junior position working in the Viagra clinical trials, right? And
as a researcher,
I was sort of compiling the documentation, right? And not as a trial subject, no, as a researcher. And it was a different time. They only ever had heterosexual couples. So they didn't find out about the interaction between amyl nitrate and Viagra until much later, which was
that's a rough one. No.
Don't do that.
No.
But I was working, compiling the document, etc. And here's the thing: it followed in the wake of a failed arthritis drug. Right. So we thought this arthritis drug was going to be the bee's knees and blockbuster, and right at the end it fell over. I said, well, we've got this weird drug. We don't think it's going to work, but let's give it a shot. And then halfway through the trial, we did interim analysis, which is what you do to make sure you're not killing people. And it was safe. Now it has visual effects, so we're worried about people going blind. Transient synopsia, blue tinge to your vision, because the enzyme is very similar. And it said, no, it's safe and it works. And it just took off. Anyway, when I was doing my PhD, you do your literature research to see what other people have written before. And I came across a trial where they injected hamsters with Viagra for jet lag. Now, it was a simulation. They didn't put the hamsters on a plane. So hamsters on a plane, the prequel to Snakes on a Plane, didn't end well. No, they had switched the light on and off early or late. But the Viagra was effective in jet lag.
Oh.
But only in the eastbound direction.
Oh.
Now, I was saying earlier, it's two different mechanisms.
Yep.
It only works on that one. The phase delay. Phase delay. Only works on phase delay. And
but what is the how?
Look, it inhibits some sort of enzyme. Somehow nitric oxide is involved. Remember that. Okay, so the enzyme that Viagra affects has a very similar one in the eye.
I see.
Right?
That's what
So the one that it affects is phosphodiesterase subtype 5. The one in the eye is phosphodiesterase subtype 6. So, and that's why people can often get a blue tinge to their vision.
I see.
So
wow. So that
but Viagra, but there are no human data. I mean, it's off patent now, but doing a jet lag trial is expensive.
Yeah.
Very niche market. It's altitude sickness is similar in this way. And look, the Viagra just sold itself.
Yeah.
It flew off the shelves. We didn't need to promote it. They're like, here, it's available, and that was it.
This is one of those things that you barely need marketing for it.
Well, it did not need marketing. We just had media, and that was it.
It just tell people that you got a hard on.
well, and the pricing was by tablet. So whether you had the 25, 50, or 100 by tablet, and it was to the cost of a movie ticket.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have a night out, you're going to have a night in. Same price. That was the reasoning.
Yep. Good for them.
I did not do that research. I was not injecting hamsters with Viagra. Can I just clarify?
Yes.
I was reporting on someone else's research, and I said, I would love to write the ethics approval for that.
Yeah,
but obviously these biologists know what they're doing because they predicted it and it worked. So they know what they're doing. But I did my PhD at RMIT at the College of Business.
Yes.
And I can safely say, of all the people who have submitted their PhDs into the RMIT College of Business, I am the only person who has a paragraph of their thesis dedicated to hamsters taking Viagra for jet lag. That's mine.
I think that's
mine.
For that year, or probably for that decade.
That would have been ever. Because the College of Business, I mean, they're writing about economics and finance and management, and here I am talking about hamsters and Viagra.
I don't know. I think your supervisor would really like.
Oh no, they were fine.
Like everyone that would be like, I love this thesis.
Everyone was, very perfect. I wrote it academically.
Yes. After the break, I'm going to throw Steve with a lot of random questions, and hopefully he got a good night's sleep before.
I did.
And welcome back to the final segment of this episode of Get Chatty about your local business. We still have the jet lag guy, Steve, with us. All right, are you ready?
I'm as ready as I can be.
Okay. Well, what is the one item that you couldn't live without?
My cell phone, and particularly the Maps app. I get lost. I got lost coming here. They ripped up some footpath, and I ended up going the wrong way. The Maps app. The other thing is, when I'm traveling, I like a nice pair of cufflinks.
Oh, there you go.
I do like. I've got my ruby cufflinks, which I did not wear today, but
well, look, I mean,
I'll wear them when I next see you.
Yes, please. What are you like outside of your work?
Look, I like to think I'm fun, but I like to get out and do interesting things. I love traveling, but that's kind of an obvious. That's my work and travel work together beautifully. So,
which is a very good
and I
thing.
watch far too many Danish crime shows that can possibly be good for my mental health.
Well, you're on a different time zone. And
You know,
what talent or skills would you like to wake up with tomorrow?
I would like to be able to sing. That would be nice. I cannot. That would be lovely.
All right. Well, so name a job that you would do in a multiverse. So there's a different version of
A
Steve.
different version of me working in the multiverse.
Yes. Well, something, whatever professional.
Ooh. Now, I wouldn't mind being a gardener in the multiverse.
Yeah.
Not in this universe because I'm afraid of spiders. But you know, in the multiverse, I'm not afraid of spiders, and I've got a green thumb, and that'd be fairly relaxed and chill. You know, there's no time pressure and stuff. You just plant your tomatoes.
Yeah, I like that you even have character stories with the other Steve.
Yeah, the other Steve. It's fairly chill. That would be nice.
Now, what is the most what is the biggest business lesson that you learned from your career so far?
Being flexible. Like I said, I was all set to launch at the beginning of 2020.
Nope.
So that clearly did not happen. So it set me back a few years, but developing everything, giving me time to write the book.
Yes.
Giving me time to, work on the app, all that sort of thing. So being flexible, and look, life throws you curveballs.
Yeah.
That happens.
Well, in a way, that was like the universe asking me to do the app and the book.
Well, it was the universe stopping me and saying, hey, you got to do this first. So,
Oh, no. What's one piece of advice that you receive that you would like to pass on to the others in the community?
If something is worth doing, it's worth doing badly. What I mean by that is, we want to get it perfect, and you want to get it perfect the first time. No, just do it badly, and then you can go back and do it a little bit better. I mean, this is how my thesis. I've just done a video using Canva for the first time, and I'm actually really happy with it. But the first time I did it on PowerPoint just to get the timing more than anything, and it was terrible. But that's okay. I had an idea. And things kept cropping and changing, and add this in. I've used AI images. AI is good for something and terrible for others.
Oh gosh, yes.
If you say to AI, give me a row of martini glasses in front of a jet plane, nails it.
Yep.
If you say, give me 2 tango dancers wearing red, no. First one, he had 4 legs, she had 3. Another one, he had 2 legs. She only had 1. She had an above-knee amputation, but the clock behind her had a beautiful leg with a stiletto at the end. So yeah, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing badly and improve it.
And also, sometimes if you have done something badly, then at least you learn from it and know what to do.
Well, the thing is, your first draft of anything is going to be crap. Whether it's the book, whether it's the video, it's crap. And just give yourself space to play and be creative. You see small children, they play. They don't care if they color in all the lines or not.
Yeah. And the most important thing is just understanding yourself. It's like, there's no shame in failing. There's no shame of making an error.
It's learning.
Exactly.
And I was mindful of that when I did the video. I was like, I've never done this before. If I get something half decent, I'm happy. I'm really happy now.
Nice. Well, all right. So it's kind of related to your answer. If you have unlimited resource to do like a TV series or movie or something like that, what do you think you would do?
Oh, that's an easy one. I would love to do a pilot program called Around the World in 8 days.
You mean 80?
No, I mean 8. No 0 at the end. So you go around the world, fly around, and let's say you go from here to London to New York and back within 8 days. So there's a lot of jet lag. So you put your jet lag goggles on and off you go, and working how to manage the jet lag while flying and seeing the sights of the world's cities. And you pick different cities, like mix it up a bit. Like I might go Johannesburg, Buenos Aires home. Mix it up.
Nice. Well, in that concludes the questions. And
thank you.
Thank you so much, Steve, for taking part in this, and thank you for listening and watching this podcast. And of course, that if you have any questions, please reach out to Steve via jetlagguide.com.au.
Yes.
All the contact information I'll put underneath the video or the podcast description. And of course, please let us know when the app become available, when the book, and I will. You know that I'm gonna find you after the Olympics.
Yes. Yes.
And of course, like sleep is very important. And another thing also very important is get chatty about your local businesses, talk about your community, let people know about what they do, just like what Steve does. And thank you for your time, and thank you for listening.
Okay.
This was such an eye-opening experience, literally. I think I will look into managing my sleep better even if I'm not traveling. How about you? Here are my 3 top learnings from Steve. Steve has an involved style in his project management and team coordination. He pays attention to time and budget and makes sure everyone is aligned to a common goal, which is why he has made progress across industries. He understands how crucial communication with clients is, how to build rapport, address their concern, and provide a variety of customizable solutions. When stuck in lockdowns a few years ago, he leveraged his technical expertise, kept challenging himself, hypothesized, troubleshoot, and find efficient solutions to technical issues. This level of desire to improve and curiosity is a great combo. If you want to learn more or revisit the science side of jet lag, I encourage you to listen to the last episode and of course, take a look at Steve's Jet Lag Guide website. His contact info is on the show note. Thanks for listening.